All right, we are back here on another Washington Football Guys post game show, episode 25, the Ryan Clark edition, the Chris
Right.
Thompson edition. And it is a victory, Rob. It is a 27-21 victory over the Carolina Panthers. And Ron's return to Carolina.
I
Woo!
wish Ron was more vocal and had more of a personality to where he would have ran up to the closest camera after that clock hit zero and just grabbed it and goes, "I'm back."
Right.
That would have been amazing. But he's professional. He's much more stand up than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt good. It was a another, like you said, another complete game. Offense
Yep.
played great. Defense played well. Special teams did what they needed to do. There was one coaching decision that I wasn't sure of that we'll get into in a minute, but overall, great game, second straight win, and much more hopeful outlook on the rest of the season with what the schedule is looking like right now.
Yeah, big time. And that's the thing with I was really proud of this effort. Like you said, we know Ron is very, he's very mature. I put it this way, and to that point where we knew on just a regular game. And I know that's Ron's nature. Ron really doesn't, like you say, he's not the emotional kind of guy. But we knew there was something in that game, and just the simple fact for us to get that victory. And I mean, a lot of factors came into it. Like we talked about, everybody was so. I was so proud of this team because you think about it, that momentum, the opening drive with Carolina, and that's that momentum, Cam Newton, all that stuff, and they was able to kind of weather that storm. And I thought that was an amazing game for them. And
Yeah,
that's just a simple fact of just the game was really emotional, but the ultimate homecoming king stole the show. Like we talked about on the Washington Football Guys podcast on Friday with our guy Larry Frank.
yep,
We said it, and I
yeah,
even said on See You Sunday. And shout out to Pat. Pat laughed at me. Everybody laughed at me. But that's why I said everybody's ignoring that homecoming that
hmm
is of Taylor Heinecke. This was such a man. This was just a great win for us. Now at 4-6. What did I say since the beginning of the year? If this team could be hovering at the 500 mark during divisional play, this could this could potentially be something that we need to watch out for.
you did
I
say that.
always I said if we can be in this, I didn't think we were going to be in that particular. I mean, that was really the worst case scenario. That if we were to kind of hover over that 500 mark going into division play in what 2 weeks? Well, no, it's how many we get? 3 weeks. 3 weeks from today we'd be playing Dallas. But
hmm
Rob, wow, like so. The first thing I want to talk about what are your takeaways in this 21-27 victory over the Carolina Panthers in Ron's homecoming?
So a lot of people are saying it now, especially since this is the second straight victory that Taylor Heineke is a starter. I wouldn't go that far yet.
Yeah.
He's played two very, very great games against pretty good defenses. Carolina's second ranked defense, even though I pointed out that their last, 7 games that they've played, they haven't been great. Um, but he can get the job done. If you put him in the right position, you put the right game plan in for him, he can beat anybody in this league. Does
Yep.
that make him a starter in the future? Maybe. Does that deserve to give him? Does he deserve another shot next year? Even if we are in a position to draft somebody, like the kid out of Liberty, Malik
Oh,
Wilson, I believe his name,
I think Will's something. I forgot his name. Yeah,
something
but
like
yeah,
that.
and he in my backyard, and that's a
Right.
shame.
And so, so even if we're in a position to draft a quarterback in the first round, I would at this point I would still be okay-ish with Heineke playing on as a starter to get the new guy some reps, a little bit of let him sit and learn. But Taylor Heineke, he's doing exactly what he needs to do, what he should have been doing from the start. And we get into his stats a little bit. Super efficient though, and I love what I've been seeing from Heineke.
Yeah. And like you said, I think we've always been have said, hey, he is a backup quarterback for a reason. And he is a backup quarterback. Because the theory, he's not our QB1. Obviously, with the injury of Ryan Fitzpatrick, he wouldn't have seen wouldn't have seen this field if Ryan Fitzpatrick would have stayed healthy and if he would have had to play that me and you kind of envisioned he was going to have.
Yep.
But I mean, it's to a point where I think Taylor Heinecke, I think now is starting to get I think he's starting to figure it all out now. I think he knows that, like we talked about how, like in other games, like Buffalo game, I think he was really more so like trying to improvise and be like, look, I need to just make plays. We down this and third.
Mhm.
Once again, we control the tempo from start to finish. Well, that's what we said. One of the biggest keys on Friday was if this team has to play with a lead or have control of this team for him to play like he did, and he had no turnovers once again. And I've noticed a trend with him when he doesn't have any turnovers, we win football games. In most cases, general cases, most times if your quarterback doesn't throw turnovers, generally your team will win. And the same thing goes in this case. But I think in theory, he's smart. He knows he's protecting the football at all costs. He does. It's a little bit stuff that kind of rub you the wrong way, but in the same token, he's smart.
Yeah.
He's making smart throws. Like I think one of the biggest ones was I think there was a third down and short. It was like 3rd and 3, and he threw it to John Bates.
Hmm.
That little shovel.
Yep.
That's something that you just can't teach. That's the instinct. That's something that's like, look, I need to make something out of nothing, and he made it in that predicament. And I mean, my goodness, and even we were going back and forth during the game. Good point on your point. We talked about Cam Curl. Cam Curl came out to play today. I What he did was amazing. Like we talked about him even last year. How and like you said, he should have been in this lineup. And instead of landing at that position.
Yep.
But I know we talk about Taylor Heineke, but we gotta give kudos to my nephew Cole freaking Holcomb out of the University of North Carolina.
Do bought out.
Boy, let me
Do bought
tell
out
y'all,
today.
Cole Cole balled. Cole was in Chris McCaffrey's face all
Yep.
night. Let me tell you, and I bet everybody was like, oh, that's a mismatch. That's a mismatch. I don't know why y'all gonna put Cole on CMC. I'm telling you, these are the. I'm telling you, when we talk about this football team, when we talk about all this type of stuff, we these are the things that we've been harping on and talking about since the beginning of our podcast in June. That
Yep.
we knew these guys had that ability to step up and play, and now it's coming to fruition. I'm a man. What he did, was just was amazing. Like, cause you essentially Chris McCaffrey had more receiving yards than rushing.
Hmm.
I think he had 60. He had 60 receiving and 59 rush. So in other words, you have that man to what, if my math is correct, 119 yards, all purpose, which you'll take that any day and definitely 2 times on a Sunday.
Right.
But yeah, it's oh my goodness, yeah, it's crazy. We got a special guest in the building. We got our guy. We'll cue him in right now. We got our guy, the Snowman. What's going on, man?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm good. What's going on, man?
Relaxing. Got a belly full of chili thanks to the
Yeah.
wife and watching the Chiefs and the Cowboys. And I
Oh,
have four very special words for you. And those
yeah.
words are Hail to the Redskins.
Okay. Appreciate it. Appreciate you, man. Coming from a 49ers guy, I know. Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm old school to my heart. I will always
Yeah.
say hail to the Redskins because
Yeah.
I appreciate the old school of that franchise. Theismann and Riggins, the Smurfs, you remember back in the
Yeah.
80s, and then of course
Yep.
the posse in the 90s. And the
Yeah.
way they played today would have 80,000 people singing that entire song of
Yep.
Hail to the Redskins several times over. That defense in the fourth quarter,
Mhm.
no, let me borrow the words of the legendary Brent Musburger. In the money period, came through when they needed to. That defense showed out in the fourth period.
Yeah, and like we said, yeah, they came out and they played, especially that fourth quarter. There was a lot of situation that fourth quarter I was a little like on edge for, but
Hmm.
they took care of business defensively, and that's like we talked about this often where, especially in the beginning, where we was like, look, this team it's got to give. Like
Hmm.
we were anticipating these type of moments, and obviously, in the beginning of the season, it wasn't looking good even up until our bye week. Everything was looking kind of despair, but now coming back now, winning two straight games, it's
The best thing that this is the best thing that could happen for the Redskins because the Panthers had all the hype. Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey back from an injury. But you mentioned something that is so true. That defense of Washington held McCaffrey to 59 rushing yards.
yep,
And McCaffrey is all purpose yards. We know that. But his bread and butter is his running. And they held him to 59 yards, 119 all purpose yards, with only 60 through the air. When
yep,
you can keep Christian McCaffrey, who no mistake, I love you, Cam Newton, but Christian McCaffrey, with the way that they showed him love, is the face of that franchise.
yep,
But at the same time, you hold him to 119 total yards, your defense balled out, and Washington's balled out, especially in the final period.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it was one of those things where I mean it was great. And then just like we talked about, and then another takeaway, we just continue that same effort from last week. Once
Hmm.
again, just with the Tampa Bay situation, kind of coming back into this situation this week. And then,
Hmm.
like we talked about a little bit earlier, just you know setting the tone from the jump. Even though we did get that, Carolina did get that opening drive,
Yeah,
but we weathered the storm and we took care of business. Yeah.
and that's the key. You weathered the storm because Carolina led twice, 7-0 and 14-7.
Hmm.
And for y'all to tie them at halftime, get the lead at the end of the third period, and get two big field goals in the money period, what you did to Carolina and to Cam Newton, because God bless him, Cam Newton's an athlete. But I've said this about Cam Newton often. Cam Newton is not a quarterback. And what I mean is he doesn't have the ability to climb the pocket, make the reads, and make the throws that he needs to make. If you look at the last two drives, they held him in check and prevented him from climbing the pocket.
Yeah, big time, big time. Yeah, yep, most definitely appreciate you for chiming in on and coming on to the Watching Football Guys podcast. Definitely appreciate you.
Appreciate you having me.
Yes,
Appreciate
indeed.
appreciate you having me. Snowman in the morning, Thanksgiving special. We're gonna tape it tomorrow. It'll air Thursday morning at 11 a.m. and then we're back on Friday. We're live on Friday, but then I will be out of town after Friday until Wednesday because I have a little cancer appointment in Durham,
Yeah,
North
yeah,
Carolina that I have to
yeah,
take care of.
yeah.
And since everyone wants to see me beat this, I got no choice with all that love but to beat it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, indeed. Yep. We all are snowman strong, man. Definitely appreciate you once again for
I
taking some
appreciate
time
you.
and chiming in on this victorious Sunday for us Washington football guys.
I leave you with the final four words. Hail to the Redskins.
Appreciate you. And have a
Thank
good
you.
holiday, man. Take care.
Thank you. You
All
too.
right. All right. But yeah, so Rob, and it's funny. So when we did this, went over, we did the notes for the show, right? And I put how the game was won. Did you notice
I
that?
did.
Did you
I
peep
did
that out?
notice that.
See,
I did
I'm
notice that.
telling you, I'm telling you, I am gonna. I'm telling you, all of this stuff that I'm telling you, I am really gonna be superstitious. So I already have it down to a T of what of how this process is gonna work. So I'm gonna so Raw. How was the game? Oh yeah, in this case was one, which I should have changed that graphic. But how was the game was one?
Time
Let
of
me change it.
possession.
Yep.
Time of possession. We lost the time of possession battle only once, only one quarter. this game was the first quarter, which was a little rough. Lost that one 9 minutes and 7 seconds to our 5:53. But after that second quarter, we had the ball for 4 more minutes, 9:30 over 5:30. The third quarter, we held the ball for 11 minutes and 44 seconds. Only 15-minute quarters. So that means, luckily, I don't have to do the math. I have it right in front of me. Panthers held the ball for 3 minutes and 16 seconds in the third quarter. That's enough for realistically one drive or part of one drive if you're doing full drives. And then fourth quarter, we had it for slightly over 2 minutes longer, 8:46 to the Panthers, 6 minutes and 14 seconds. The other way we won is the efficiency of Taylor Heinecke. And I know people are going to think, oh, we're watching the rerun of the post game against Tampa Bay. No. Taylor Heinecke for the second straight week has been arguably the most efficient quarterback in the league. Today he had his stats weren't glaring though. You're not going to look at the stats and think, oh yeah, that guy he ran the game. Only had 16 completions out of 22 attempts, 206 yards. Was sacked 3 times for 27 yards. He did have 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. For the second straight week, he's put up numbers like that. His passer rating today, 141.3, which is damn near perfect. You look at last week, sort of the same numbers in totality, 23 out of 24. I'm sorry, those wrong numbers. 26 out of 32 for 256, 1 touchdown, no picks, had a 110.4 quarterback rating. So after of the last 2 weeks, he's averaging almost a 126 passer rating. And you have those kind of numbers, you play that efficiently, you can beat anybody. This defense played amazing. They didn't crack under pressure. And Antonio Gibson gave up that fumble early in the first half, which hurt his numbers because he sat for the rest of the first half. But that run game didn't miss a beat. You know, J.D. McKissick came in. I think the very next play that they were on offense, broke off a 12-yard run. And defense was able to stop Carolina after that fumble. So just all around great game by this team.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this team is shout out to Prez. Yeah, we sleeping good this week.
Oh yeah.
Oh, trust me, it's a holiday week. Ooh-wee. Like, yeah, we're gonna enjoy some naps this week. But yeah. And you know what's funny, Rob? I'm telling you, we always talk about time of possession. We even give them targets at least about 30 minutes of time possession. You want to at least have half of it because due to just how our team is structured. We always have known this from September 10th when we did the show about the Chargers. So from the jump, all from preseason, all that. Once again, 35 minutes and 33 seconds for time of possession. That's how you win football games, especially for a team like this. Once again, and you look at that's where it ultimately boils down to. And then that run game, 190 yards. And it's funny to think if you think about if in theory, coming into this game, if you would have said, okay, we would have outrun them far as from a yardage standpoint, I would have been like, nah, ain't no way because you got CMC, right, you kind of got Cam as a threat, and then even at that time they were saying maybe PJ Walker might be a factor in this particular game. So to me, you got 3 guys who I figured could have a impact on that running game, and also Chuba Hubbard and all the other guys that they got, as far as runners, the guys that can run, and 190 yards. That's impressive. And you got that from a bevy of guys. Obviously, AG, I think he had 95. McKissick had, I want to bless you, 46. Taylor had 40. Taylor had like 40, 45, 46 rushing yards. I think.
He had 29.
29. Okay, yeah. So he had 29. And then Jared Patterson had a few runs. I think he had about 23 or 20.
Had exactly 23.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah,
you're doing your homework. And I
perhaps.
only know that because I have it right up in front of me right here. I couldn't have told you how many yards he had.
But yeah, you look at that, and then coupled with the fact of being able, even though third down efficiency, they really weren't that good this week. I know we always talk about third down efficiency, but their third down defense really stepped up. They were 2 for 9
Yep.
and damn near 20% conversions. And that's how you win games, especially in this type of standpoint where you see the difference between these are the tail of these two victories are the tail of the previous ones that we've had, where we've had other opponents have about 70%, 60%, 40% third down conversions, which what that happens, that leads to longer drives, that leads to cutting out of our time of possessions. All that stuff matters. All that stuff all comes together, and it matters. And just like you, and it was just, I mean, this team, I swear, it was such a hell of an effort. I'm really like sitting here like so proud of this team, almost to a point, almost it's just as good as last week. You cannot slap the smile off my face,
Right.
like of how we won this week. Yeah, and also Taylor Heinecke once again, he's efficient too, and that's what thing people fail. Like you said, Rob, your point too, where you got to think about this man was 16 for 22. He only had 6 incompletions. And that's an amazing stat. Like those are the type of stats that you're looking for, and like we said, he makes those smart throws at the time. Now you're seeing, like we talked about, it's more improved. Like now you're seeing that and then the thing with him too, I would give him so much credit. He's a tough son of a gun. Like I said, you might get him. Might try to get him in that first initial one. He gonna come back, and then the one I thought something was wrong with him. Remember the one where he got sacked, and then I think Brian Burns kind of hit him like right
Oh,
here,
he
and then
pulled him back.
he held him back. I was like, oh, I thought, and then he was able to pick back up, and I think one hit, I forgot one sack, he ended up like hitting, like he was grabbing his shin for like maybe like a second, and I was like, bro, like this dude is tough. Like we talk about it week in and week out, but yeah,
I was afraid for a minute that one hit where he slid and I forgot who it
yes,
was, but hit
31,
him. Yeah.
yeah.
And then he popped right back up, got in his face. And I was like, "Oh, don't do it! Don't get us a flag! Don't do it!" Although I
Right.
wouldn't have been completely upset, but at that point in time, I was like, "No, just walk
I
away."
know, because now you got taunting, but then luckily that was a penalty on him because he struck
Right?
with the crown of his helmet.
Yeah.
But when I seen that and he got back up, I was like, this is the real homecoming that we need to take,
Mm-hmm.
that we need to really evaluate. I was like, that dude, I love that. And then I don't know, it's something about this week. It's like I to me, I feel like he took so much command this week, and it was emotional. Like you know how his was a little bit more different than Cam. Cam is just the boisterous. He scored a touchdown. He went in midfield and did this and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But Taylor was like, "Look, you gonna get me down on the ground. I'm a bark back. I
Yeah.
slid, I hit that, and then guess what? You hit me. I guess I look at you and I jawed at you. Like, look, bring it. And that's and I love that from Taylor at this point. It's just like, to me, it's like it's that toughness, it's that moxie. That's what we need, especially now in this stretch that we're going. We need him to be this way. Like, to me, I think we really have unleashed him. He's been unleashed because I've never seen him as far as every like these first downs, doing the first down like this and all this, and I'm like, I see this now, and I'm like, wow, this is a different guy. And I think now he's figuring it out.
Yeah. He's definitely figuring out the things that he needs to do, the things that he's good at. And he's improving with the things that he wasn't good at.
Yeah.
Because one of the things we've been knocking him on for the earlier this season was his decision making, trying to force throws, trying to do things that he couldn't, not necessarily that he couldn't do, but things that he wasn't very good at.
Yeah.
He was trying to be Josh Allen against Josh Allen. because he felt like he had to, and
Yeah.
because that defense didn't play well. So in a sense, he did kind of have to, but
Yeah.
it costed him and it costed us as a team. But especially these last 2 weeks, he's going for the safe of high percentage throws. He's going for the things that on the third and I think it was 3rd and 21, he went with a play that was short of the sticks, but it ended
Yeah.
up in a position to possibly go for it on 4th down. But
Right.
I don't remember if that's the one where they stayed on the field and then they tried to draw him off sides on. No, it wasn't. They did go for that one. I'm talking about the 4th and 11, where it was like on the
Yeah.
40-yard line.
Yeah.
Offense stayed on the. It was a weird sequence that I'm
'Cause
gonna go back and I'm gonna go watch the Ron Rivera press conference because I want to know what his thought process was on that.
yeah, 'cause I think he was trying to get them off sides. I
For what?
think
It's
that
fourth
was.
and 11.
I know, and that's like I don't understand because even if you were to get that, what that would have been what maybe like a is that a, what a 10-5 or a 10
It's a
yard penalty?
5-yard penalty. Would have made
So it
it
would have
fourth
made
and
it force.
8. Would have made
Yeah,
the field goal about a 48-yard attempt for Joey Slice. So I think that's probably what he would. I'm sure that he was either his mindset was either we draw him off sides, make it a 48-yard attempt for Joey Sly, which he felt more comfortable, or delay a game, push him back, and give Tressway a little bit more room to
yeah,
pin them. That's the only thing I can think of. I'm pretty sure that's what he thought. It was just in the process of all of it. It seemed very, very weird. And I even texted you. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that sequence of events because it was
yeah.
very, very weird. But so shout out to NFL.com. They have the game programs or the game books after every game. So
Mhm.
that's why I sound so smart right now. Their average Washington's average starting field position was their own 33. And
Yeah,
that's all things considered, that's very good because that means that they were forcing Carolina to punt a lot. Carolina's average was their own 22-yard line. That was a big thing. Another big thing that we're kind of missing is 4th down conversion. We were 2 for 2, which we don't go for 2 a lot. Well, this team goes for it on 4th down quite a bit.
yeah,
Today, efficient on doing that. 2 for 2. Both of those drives led to more points. Um, but just all around, again, great game. Tyler Heinecke. You look at Terry McLaurin, 5 catches, 103 yards. He literally had um he had half of Taylor Heineke's completion yards,
yeah,
and probably should have had more yards and another touchdown.
yeah.
He missed on a couple big throws. But I did like the first touchdown throw, Taylor Heineke to DeAndre Carter or Cam. No,
Um,
it was Cam Sims.
Cam Sims, yeah,
It was a
Alabama,
tight
yeah,
window.
yeah.
It was a
It
tight
was similar. It
window.
was similar to the DeAndre one last week. It was
Hmm.
really similar to it. Yep,
Oh, it was beautiful. I
it
loved it.
was. And that's another thing too. Even though even in the win, there was a lot of points that we left off the field. Literally 14 points. Obviously, that first quarter, the AG fumble,
Yep.
and then the Terry McLaurin miss in the field and in the end zone. Like I mean, if he was maybe a few inches short of actually catching that football. So I mean, that's one thing too. Where
With 2 touchdowns. Because remember, he had Terry McLaurin had DB beat on a post route. And it
yeah,
would have been caught if he would have caught it, he would have been, I think, at like the 15-yard line, would have ran it in easily. So
yeah.
that was one that he missed. And
So
then
that's
the
three.
second
So
one
it was
on the
really
third
three.
and third or
There,
whatever.
yeah,
But those
yeah,
are the plays that Taylor Heineke, he's knowing the situation, he's understanding it, and saying, okay, I'm gonna put it to where either Terry can get it or
yeah,
nobody can get it,
yeah, right.
and walk away with a field goal. There's nothing wrong with getting 3 points when they're available to you. Sure, take the shot. If you get it, great.
If you
But
don't,
if you
right.
don't, you take the 3 points and don't try to force it and it ends up getting picked or something like that. But just those are the plays where he's finally understanding what his role is and what he needs to do and actually doing them.
Yeah, and yeah, it's crazy. Like and that's one thing too, where a lot of points was definitely could have had in this situation. But hey, we're here and we did get that victory. And then also just also how we won defense. Jonathan Allen. I mean, we talked about Cole a little bit earlier, But what Jonathan Allen did as well, he's another one where a lot of people would kept on counting this out. Oh, you don't have Montez, you don't have or Chase. But I like, well, we still got some guys. We still got Jonathan Allen, which Jonathan Allen really is our leader on that
Hmm.
defensive line. So you got him. He had the sack, and then also that big play, that big fourth down to pretty much end this game to create that pressure for on that fourth down. But I tell you, man, it was I tell you, man, it was a hell of a win for us on the road.
But much needed.
Yeah, yeah,
Again, it just carrying on what we talked about on what I talked about on Friday was just that confidence.
yep,
This team is building confidence. They're realizing they can play with anybody because again, Carolina still had the second ranked defense.
yep,
In the NFL, they had the first ranked defense and gave up 190 yards
yeah.
uh, of rushing yards between Gibson, McKinnick, Heinecke, and Patterson. DeAndre Carter had that one carry for -3 yards, but he makes up for it, and he's they need to lock him up soon while it's relatively cheap.
And shout out to Troy, another one, Troy Apke.
Troy Apke getting that fumble
Yes,
recovery
that fumble
on the kickoff.
recovery. I'm
That
telling you,
was clutch.
that was clutch. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of guys who really came up big and made plays in this victory. So, Rob, we gotta give out some grades this week once again. So, what are your grades this week?
So Taylor Heinecke, I'm pointing at him out specifically. He gets an A++.
Yeah.
He played damn near a perfect game. Only missed seven throws or 6 throws. A
6.
couple of those were throws where they were purposely where his guy could get or they couldn't. The two to Terry McLaurin specifically. He gets an A++. He played lights out. He's very smart. Knew when to run. Knew when to slide. Terrific. Offense, I'll give them an A+. Offense was clicking on all cylinders, whether it's DeAndre Carter, Terry McLaurin, Adam Humphries. Antonio Gibson had the one mishap on offense. Like, there was nothing even outside of that on offense. There was nothing even close that we could be scared of that was going to end up. Like, there were no error throws by Heinecke. He didn't overthrow a lot of guys. Didn't look like anything forced. The most forced throw that he had was a touchdown to Cam Sims. Everything else, he was dissecting the defense, making the right plays, doing the smart thing. And again, outside of that Antonio Gibson fumble, this offense played perfect. Defense, I'll give an A-. They gave up, obviously they gave up some points, but when it mattered most, they came up big. I had written down in my notebook that initial third down stop in the first quarter that we got. I thought that was going to be big, and then just ended up giving like a 15-yard run to Christian McCaffrey. But in total, again, defense played great. Cole Holcomb had 3 tackles, 3 solo tackles, 7 assisted tackles. Landon Collins didn't play. He wasn't big in the game plan, but he showed up big. William Jackson gave up the 1 touchdown, which we knew he was going to. Like he's going to get beat once again. We know that right now. Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, especially on that last play of the game, got in there, got pressure on Cam Newton. The defense did a very, very good job of keeping Cam Newton contained. Even on the designed runs, he got out on a couple of them, but a majority of the designed runs where he was trying to get to the outside, he ended up having to cut back in and couldn't do it. Who was it? Who got the 4th down stop at the end? Was it Cam Curl? Or
Yeah,
Cole Hope?
That was Cam. That was Cam Curl.
That was clutch.
That was clutch. Yeah.
Over the last 2 weeks, I feel like our tackling has gotten so much better.
It's crisp.
With the exception of, again, William Jackson on that first. He goes to Christian McCaffrey, which, by the way, Christian McCaffrey was down on that play. He got the ball. William Jackson tried to take him out from underneath. He put his hand down. His helmet touched the ground. He should have been down, but it was a first down either way, so it doesn't matter. Outside of that, tackling has been spot on. There's not a lot of missed tackles like we saw, especially against Kansas City, with that still picture that is still burned into my brain.
Boy, that third and
of
long
him, of Tyreek Hill behind the line of scrimmage on a 3rd and 3, with 4
Yeah,
Washington players and the caption saying he still got the first down. That haunts me every single
yeah,
day. We're not
yeah,
having those anymore. We're making the
yeah,
tackles, we're wrapping up, and defense gets an A plus. Special teams gets an A minus, specifically because DeAndre Carter, he fumbled the ball, can't do that in that situation. But Troy Apke, he brings the grade up a little bit for getting that, fighting for that ball inside the pile, underneath the pile, and getting the ball.
yeah. Offense gives I give him a B. The only reason why I give him a B, the AG fumble. I think that was one that kind of, and then the whole situation with AG run out of bounds with a minute and 50 seconds to go. I was like, other than that, great. It was a great game. It was offensively wise. This was everything was great. Taylor was on a mission tonight. He did his thing. Defense, they get an A minus for me as well. Like you said, I like the fact that even though they really did a good job of keeping Cam in the pocket. I mean, you had some situations where Cam kind of got out of the pocket and got some runs here and there. But I mean, I think for the most part they did a good job considering the fact of the history that we've had as far as other type of quarterbacks that we've had as far as guys that gets out of the pocket.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of the things I'm really encouraged going forward to next Monday night. Potentially. But we'll talk about that in a sec.
And
Yeah.
while I'm here, bagging on William Jackson for the terrible game that he had, I will
Mhm.
say he did have one pass deflection, which I'm trying to remember the play that it was, but I know for a fact it was a big play. I want to say it was the third down play before the fourth down stop by Cam
Oh,
Crow. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
a short pass, and William Jackson was able to knock that ball out. So
Yeah.
he did play well in some spots of the game. He is getting better. I will say that from where he was in weeks 1 through 6 or 7 to where he's at now,
Now,
at least he was only a step behind DJ Moore in the end zone. And DJ Moore wasn't all by himself. He hasn't given up any big plays like he did for Keenan Allen and
right.
Darius Slay in week 2, stuff like that. He's not doing that. He's getting better. Hopefully it carries on into the next 6 weeks, I think, of the season. Because this schedule looking like we could finish. I'm not saying that we are. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it looks like we could finish 10-7.
I mean, it's possible.
Because we
I was
play,
thinking, yeah,
because we look at the schedule, we got Seattle coming up next Monday night,
yeah,
which they're in complete shambles. They're losing right now 13-3
yeah,
against Colt McCoy and the Cardinals. Shout out Colt McCoy, former Washington
yeah,
football team quarterback.
yeah. My guy.
Um, Jay Gruden's guy too.
Yeah.
You guys haven't heard, Jay Gruden did a interview with Kevin Sheehan the other day, and Jay Gruden. I'm just gonna say this real quick, little tangent. Jay Gruden is slowly becoming one of my favorite people in this organization of all time.
Oh yeah.
I love his interviews. He's very candid, and he's not scared to look back on it and really say the things that were going on in the intricacies of the organization. Because in the interview, they brought up Kirk Cousins, and I guess at the time, San Francisco had offered for their first round pick plus
Mhm.
some. He didn't get into everything that was offered, but that's what was offered. That ended up becoming the second overall pick that year. They got, I think, Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
So he was talking about that, and he said, "Yeah, we could have gotten more." And Kevin Sheehan asked him what who why didn't he get traded? And his answer was because ownership didn't want to deal with another Shanahan. They didn't want to do business with a Shanahan. So they basically a cut off your nose to spite your face
Face. Yep.
situation.
Yep.
You could have gotten, at least Jay Gruden said he thinks he could have gotten 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Kirk Cousins at that time. And we ended up getting a third round compensation pick. All because you didn't want to deal with the Shanahan.
Right. And you know what? And you know what that could have been? Because that was the 18 draft.
Yeah.
If I remember, so you had Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield. Well, you wouldn't have Baker Mayfield if you had a second overall pick. Oh
No.
that's wrong
That
draft.
was the
Oh,
Mahomes draft.
17. That's some home. Oh, so that's
That's the
Mahomes,
Mahomes draft. Deshaun
Deshaun
Watson, which
Watson.
makes right now doesn't look that great.
But I
But
mean, what I'm saying, but in theory, if minus all the legalities,
yeah,
because I mean, we may not have had that type of access. Well, I digress. Let me leave that alone. But anyway, right? I mean, I'm saying, but yeah, because you had Mahomes in that draft, you had yeah, right. Isn't that something that we literally could have and we could have been curing all our quarterback woes potentially
yep,
off the strength of that.
yeah. Your
You're right.
nephew, Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, Mitch. Yeah,
No.
which
Hold on.
yeah, that was Mitch. Because remember the 49ers traded down to get. Oh no, that was Solomon Thomas. No, so
Solomon Tom. No.
no,
You're right.
that
You're
was
right. So
okay.
they
Which
did
year?
trade down. They traded back to 3 with the Bears.
Bears,
Bears
yeah.
jump up to get Trubisky.
Yeah, get your biscuit. Yeah, because that would have been 17. Because Kurt left in 17. Because remember he
Yeah.
left the year that the Eagles won. That's how I can remember, unfortunately. But yeah, so they would have got him, and then because that draft, yeah, you had Patrick Mahomes in that draft. Because that would have been 8. That would have been in 2000. Yeah, that would have been in 2017
Yeah.
draft. Yeah.
Yep, that was
So yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you could have got Patrick. You could have got Patrick Mahomes. You could. Oh, even hell, even if that's there, you could have traded with Andy Reid, which I don't know if they would have did that again. But 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 see, and that's another thing too, where like you said, why would you even put yourself in that predicament? Like,
right.
oh, because I don't want to do no deal with the Shanahans. If it's a good deal, it's a good deal.
Right.
Like, and that would have been a good deal because dude, you think about you let him walk, and then think about it now, we would have been just paying that guy this year, and he could have made it.
We could have been the ones paying Patrick Mahomes $500 million.
And he would have had and taking some of his money and putting it with the Nationals or the Capitals.
Exactly.
But and that's another thing too, where you look at that and you see how bad that worked. And then in theory, what did you do? You get Alex Smith for damn near the same amount of money.
Yep.
And you just finished paying him this year. So I mean, yeah. Anybody if that's the thing that kind of pissed me off about this organization. If somebody willing to give you a first round draft pick for Kirk Cousins, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's my worst enemy. I will take that because I know he was gonna walk away anyway.
Right.
So it was like, it's just like, why not?
And that's something that's scaring me right now with Scherf.
Yeah.
Brandon Scherf, we know he doesn't want to come back. He wants nothing to do with this team.
Right.
So I think this is his last year.
Yes,
the last year that we can, and we're not going to franchise him for a third straight year.
Can't.
So just either pay him whatever he wants, or get something out of it. He's an all-pro. He's an all-pro right guard.
Right.
He's going to be worth a lot of money. He's going to be worth a lot of compensation. Somebody in this league needs a right guard,
and they will take it.
Let's get a first, and maybe a third and a fourth.
Right. And like, speaking of fumbling the bag, and I know we kind of going off a tangent. Just one more final thing. That's the same thing with with Trent.
I was literally just about to bring that up.
Man, when I was told New England won a first for him, I literally was gonna go to Washington and be like, if Bill Belichick is willing to trade a first round draft pick for him, let's do that. Because do it. Why not? He was at that point, but then what you end up doing, but then that's the crazy thing about it. You did business with the Shanahan.
They still did business with the
Shanahan.
Shanahan.
Like, what the really? Like, and you got like a 5th round pick for him, which I was like, are you what? Like, you talking about something you don't want to do no business, but you made the worst business deal with the Shanahans. Yep. By trading him, which in that same, well, it wasn't the same calendar year, but maybe about 13, 14 months prior to that, before you got rid of him, that summer of 2019, Bill Belichick was ready to give you a first round pick.
Yeah, and at that point, we knew he didn't want to come back because he was hurt anyways.
And he
We
went
knew
on
he didn't
Kevin
want to come back.
Sheen's show and spilled everything. And then what you think was gonna happen? His value dropped. And then you were forced to get a fifth round pick for him. And I'm like a guy, like you said, he was almost like Brian Sheriff. You know, a linchpin, a potential Hall of Fame guy.
Yeah,
And you got rid
but
of him for a fifth round pick.
right. Well, fifth and a third. We got a
Fifth and
fifth
third,
in
yeah,
that
fifth and
draft, to
third.
which we used to draft who we think is going to be his replacement in Charles, and then
Yeah,
the third
Zeke.
this year.
Yeah,
But back to what we were talking about. We're talking about the schedule. That's what we got on the
yeah.
topic of the Seahawks are down to a Colt McCoy led Arizona Cardinals right now. We got them on Monday night.
Hmm.
The following week we have who was it?
Oh, we got Vegas. We got
We got
Vegas.
Vegas, who at now is looking
Yeah,
like they're looking with what's happening to them and with how we're playing.
yeah,
They look like that looks like a winnable game.
yeah.
And then we get into our 5 straight divisional games: 2 against the Eagles, one more against the Giants,
And then
and then
two
one
against
against
Dallas.
2 against the Cowboys.
Yeah, because we got the back-to-back Dallas. So we got Dallas on the 12th here in the crib. Then we go to Philly. Then we go to Dallas on a Sunday night at the Sunday on the day after Christmas, and then we go to then we come to the crib on January 2nd for the home finale against Philly, and then close it out in New Jersey on the 9th
Oh,
of
yeah.
January. Yeah,
With how the Eagles have been playing, I'm kind of worried about those games.
but that's gonna work in our favor because
You
they're
think so?
another team. Well, if we win, because that's gonna bump us up. That's why like everything is crucial, and it's like you looking. And I'm telling you, it's so weird I know Rob, you're a young man, and you from so what we say in the South is don't put the cart before the horse. Oh, but allow me to do that tonight. Which you think about a lot of teams are are in our way, are kind of like going downhill. You look at just simple fact of like I think New Orleans, just the whole situation with Trevor Simeon. I think they're gonna kind of bounce themselves out. And you're looking at teams, Minnesota. They even though they got a great win this week, as I predicted against Green Bay, I think they did win if my memory serves correct. I think they won, so there'll be another kind of team that kind of can be in our way. And then Carolina, but then we beat Carolina, so that's could potentially help us. And then if you can take care of business against Philly, and I think I'm telling you, don't do not be surprised that on that week 15 could be flexed out.
Right?
We could be playing a prime time game. We could be playing on a Saturday afternoon right before Christmas. Or we might be double Sunday night potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know. We flex that game is flexed for a reason.
Yep.
We might be a Saturday night prime time in Philly. You know,
So
shut us in.
if we're able to get both against Philly, the one remaining against the Giants,
Yeah,
beat Seattle, beat Vegas, and get one of those Cowboys games,
yeah,
we're a 10-7 ball club and
right.
probably in the playoffs at that point.
Yeah, because I honestly think 8 wins to get you that final. I mean, not 8 wins. I mean 8 losses. 9-8. I think 9-8 could get you that 7th spot. Because I think the Rams, Cardinals, whoever's there, they're probably gonna win about 11, 12 games. That 4th slot.
Hmm.
5th. I mean the 5th. They'll be the 5th. Whoever loses the AFC West. We probably win about 11 games. The second place team in the AFC West probably win 11 games. Maybe the 6th seed maybe win 10, and then the other one might win 9. It's to that point where because you're looking at this how it's structured, and it's to a point where hey, could we go to Dallas or could we go to Arizona, Tampa? Whoever's going to be that number 2 seed. Because I think really the honest to be honest with us ourselves, we're probably more conducive to have the 7th seed. I think more so
Hmm.
than
Oh
anything
yeah.
at this point. Because I think we're so behind, but then with Philly, and it's funny, I think if we take care of business with Philly, that 19th game is gonna be really imperative for us.
Mhm.
Because I think even if we were to get, I think our threshold is 8 losses. So I think we can still afford 2 losses on the schedule. If we can win 2 out of 7. Win 5 out of 7.
Don't
Wrong
win 2 out
math.
of 7.
Right. No, don't do that because then it will be we'll be drafted pretty high in 2022.
Well, because look who right now the Saints hold. I think it was the 6th seed.
Yeah.
Um, right now, on no, they're the 7th seed. I think. Right
And
now
they
they
lost.
got
Yeah.
they
And they
got
lost to
Buffalo next
Philly.
week. They
Oh,
got Dallas coming up. At Dallas.
yeah.
I'm sorry, no, that's a home game for
The
New
Saints.
Orleans. The Jets, okay. Tampa, which they're still Tampa,
Yeah.
and Dolphins, Panthers, Falcons. So they could lose a couple.
Yeah.
They could lose a few that would help us a lot. So at this point, the way
Yeah.
this team and again it goes down to the way that this team is playing at this
Yeah.
current point in time. The way we
Right.
played against the defending Super Bowl champs and the way we played against the second ranked defense
Yeah.
in the league,
Yep.
everything's trending in the right direction.
Yep.
Not trying to
Yeah.
get ahead of ourselves, but we're looking at the big picture.
Yeah. And that's the thing where you look at, and these are two playoff teams that we've played. So you look at it from that standpoint, these aren't cupcake wins. Like, these aren't teams, as some people in our circle would deem as, BS wins. We got wins against quality football teams, and
Yep.
even the losses that we had are quality football teams. People don't understand, like, all pretty much every team that we've lost, it made for the except even Denver's in there as far as a shot. So you look at those type of situations where it's okay to be at where we at this point, because of this simple fact of we didn't lose to, like, at this point, to no team
Didn't
that
lose
we
to the
really had no.
Jets or the Texans.
Correct, we didn't. Right, who loses to the
Some people
Texans?
have.
Right,
Right. Who
and
loses to the Texans?
right, who does?
Poverty teams. That's who loses to the
Yeah,
Texans.
yeah. And I was told that Ole Miss could beat Washington football team, but I was like, I digress. Trust me, I listen, I look, but I don't entertain it. Because guess what? I here to win football games. I'm here to win. I'm here so people can look at us sideways, so we can
That's
get one
right.
of these and
I'll do
go.
the talking for the both of us.
Right. I peeped that out. I was like, all right. And then all right, I was like, and then what's your jig? I was like, all right, December the 12th. I want your high school team against my high school team. All right. And let's battle it. Right. Oh yeah, trust me. Salt and pepper watching. Trust me, he listening. He just doing things methodically. Being that
Yep.
sports a sociopath that can be. So Rob, round out tonight. Who gets this week's game ball?
All right. So I'm gonna go 2 game balls today.
Okay.
Number one, giving second straight week, giving it to Taylor Heinecke.
Yeah.
I can't say it enough. I've said it for last week, and I'll say it again this week. Dude was stupid efficient. A 141.3 passer rating. It's hard to get better than that.
Yeah.
On top of his 110 last week against good defenses. Very methodical, very smart, great decision making.
Yeah.
Taylor Heineken gets the first game ball. Second game ball goes to your nephew, Cole Holcomb.
Yes.
Dude came up so clutch.
Yes.
He had a tip pass on a third down. He ran down Christian McCaffrey, which that is very hard to do, especially for a linebacker. He ran down Christian McCaffrey. He kind of had to do a little,
Yeah.
little horse collar tug.
Yeah. A little something.
Which,
A little
but you
tug.
know what? I'd rather give it 15 yards than a Christian McCaffrey 87-yard touchdown, which I think
Correct.
is what it would have been.
Facts.
So Cole Holcomb played out his mind. And just an honorable mention, Cam Curl had 7
Yes.
tackles. But those tackles were big. Those were big tackles, including that fourth down to seal the game.
Yeah. Big time. And I'm like you, I got a double game ball this week. I mean, definitely this is the simple fact of just the magnitude of his win. Obviously Taylor Heinecke. Once again, he outshadowed everybody in this matchup. Kind of the forgotten guy, this homecoming storyline. But we put that out there. So I mean, everybody else did, but hey, that's how we roll here to watch the Football Guys podcast. And then my game ball goes to Coach Rivera. I think like just everything that, like I always said with him, and it's funny. It's weird, and not to kind of toot my own horn, but I knew we were gonna have moments like this where a lot of people didn't have faith in Ron. I told people week in and week out, just be patient. I didn't say it this season, but I said it a lot during the preseason. Just be patient with Ron. It's gonna be some situations where you want to get rid of him because I know how it was in his situation in Carolina, which for some odd reason I followed that a lot weirdly, but not knowing that actually, that kind of played into our factor. Um, and just him coming back, getting the standing ovation, which I thought that was really cool. And then just how his maturity and his mildness towards this. Because like me, I felt it. I like we circled this on the calendar in May. When the season came out, we looked at this like, oh, we can't wait. Like November 21st, and for him to kind of set that tone, the maturity, you can tell a lot of that off of how this team played today. You look at, just like I talked about it earlier, weathering the storms. Ron Rivera did the same thing in this predicament. A lot. This team was methodical. They played smart. They played within themselves. They didn't get too emotional, too loose. Because a lot of it too. When you think about it, like it's easy for people to kind of be emotional in this circumstance. But I think Ron really held himself. He held his emotions in check, which is hard to do. I mean, I was happy for him. Even I'm just a 37-year-old out of shape guy, a fan, and I would have ran through a brick wall for Ron today. Health permitting, but but in all seriousness, I think he's the kind of guy that he deserved his game ball this week. Just a lot of poise. They stuck in this game. Could have been a lot of situations where this team could have wavered and kind of just gave up and just flew back to Washington with with just whatever attitude. But big kudos to Coach Rivera, man, and he's weathering the storm. And hey, let's just let's keep it going.
And Scott Turner
Yes.
called a hell of a game today.
Yes.
I mean, he's coming into his own. He's finally understanding that if he wants Heineke to be as good as he thinks he can be, he's going to need help from him in the play calling. And he called a great game today, much like last week.
Yep.
So shout out to him. That's another honorable mention right there.
Yeah. And like you said, and that's the thing where, I think we know now, like in essence, what his bread and butter is. He can't turn the football over. He needs to be smart. He needs to be the ultimate game manager, and that's fine. And that's fine to be a game manager for a team like this. And when I hear that word game manager, a lot of people look at that as taboo, but I don't think so. I think that's a role that you can play. It's all this stuff is about playing your role, and Taylor's role is to be a game manager, and he's playing within his role, and that's why they're successful. He doesn't have to be the Brett Favre. He doesn't have to be the gunslinger and doing all this stuff. No, just be efficient, convert on third downs, make the great throws. And like you said, Rob, if you do throw these balls, pause, uh, that you making sure that the corner or whoever's there don't have access to it. Like it's it's away from it and what have you. But yeah, man, definitely great win by this Washington football team. And I guess now we're on to Seattle on Monday Night Football. And hey, hopefully the woes of our Monday night struggles can end this week, on next Monday. And got Russ and them boys in town, and, so it's gonna definitely be a good matchup.
Russ is gonna get acclimated to the city where he's gonna play next.
Yes.
Get reacclimated because of course he's from the area. Get reacclimated.
Yeah.
These fans are gonna. I hope these fans treat him well, better than Seattle fans treat him.
Right.
The fans. Actually, the fans here are great. Not gonna lie.
Oh, they love him.
The team doesn't treat him that great.
Right.
He needs to get out of Seattle. We need to get him in some burgundy and yellow.
Yeah.
Get that Washington, whatever the new logo ends up being.
And he'll be and hopefully he can be the face of our franchise. It will be a good a good start. The hashtag what we got?
Hashtag bring Russ home.
Bring Russ. Yeah, bring Russ
DC.
home. Yeah, bring Russ home. Yeah, because I know. Yeah, bring Russ home and Russ come to DC. Russ. Yeah, So we definitely gonna I campaign that throughout the week. So I'm gonna write them down just to make sure I have the correct hashtag for those. Where's my ink pen? But anyway, I'll get those momentarily. But yeah, so let's put a ball in this week's post game show, Rob. Any social media, and upcoming projects. What you got?
Y'all already know where you can find me, FNC Pod on Twitter, Football and Chill Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Nothing big coming up. I hope everybody enjoys your Thanksgiving weekend. Stay safe. Can't stress that enough. Please stay safe. What's the plan for next week?
So the plan is going to be, I guess we're going to do the pregame show on the 29th.
Okay.
Because I know Friday you'll be doing your thing, and then it's a holiday, so we need some breaks.
Yep.
So yeah, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Couch Coach Live, pretty much anywhere. Just follow me there. I have all my content and everything that's going on with me. Yeah, so no show next Friday, due to the due to Thanksgiving, Black Friday. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have a special uh pre-game show on Monday, November 29th. So we'll see you guys a week from tomorrow,
Yep.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, we'll have that going, and we'll get you guys geared and ready for the matchup for the Seattle Seahawks. And yeah, so for Rob and Coach, man, this has been this week's Washington Football Guys post-game show.
Enjoy your victory nap.
Yes, enjoy your victory nap. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Have a great time with your friends and family. And like you said, Rob Point, be safe. And we are out. Hail victory.